This video is made possible by Practical Defense Systems, the best online security training at the lowest prices. You can start your security career today online at pdsclasses.com. Check them out. Hi, this is Joel Persinger. I'm the gun guy. Okay, I'm out for another day 2 of the stay-at-home order in California. All right, before I get into this, let me cover a couple things. First of all, I did the first lockdown day 1 thing yesterday. The main reason I've been titling it lockdown is because that's what people keep calling it. Although, truthfully, it's not really a lockdown. So let me cover a couple of things as to what's happening in California. The Governor Gavin Newsom, who for years I've been calling Gavin Nuisance because I'm not a fan of his at all. I'm a gun guy and he's an anti-gun person, kind of a crazy liberal, has actually issued a pretty good order. Now, legally it's dubious and it's very confusing, but he actually did a pretty good job, honestly. So I want to give credit where credit is due. He did not issue a lockdown. California is not in a lockdown. Now, people have been calling it that, but that's a different thing. Lockdown would almost be equivalent to martial law, and that's not what's happening here. What's happening in California is that the governor has issued a stay-at-home order, which is a little confusing. If you read the order and you go and actually read the order and then compare his public press conference about the order, the two don't exactly jibe, but his public press conference is what I'm judging by what his intentions were and are. He asked people to stay home unless they had something critical they had to do. Now, among the critical things they had to do that he listed were if you work for a critical industry, you're a police officer, firefighter, you work for a government DOD contractor, as my son does, so he'll be going back to work now that they've got some protocols on Monday, I think. He's been off for about a week. Or if you're in the security business, you're a security officer. Security officers are critical as well, and you'll find them work all over the place. I got a lot of criticism for being out and about. Well, the reason I was out and about is because I had something critical I had to do. I had to get out, and I had to pick up the mail for our business, because our business is a critical business, and we have to run it. I had to go by the mail drop over at the Postal Annex and pick up the business mail. That's part of what I got to do. So I had to go do that. It was a critical thing I needed to do. Now, today I'm out and about because I have to pick up a prescription at the pharmacy, and the pharmacy happens to be at the Albertsons here. So I'm going to turn the camera around a minute and show you that the Albertsons parking lot is pretty full. Now, you can be very critical of the people who are out doing this and that, but a lot of that is because they're doing critical things. For example, when the governor comes out and says, everybody stay at home, everybody doesn't necessarily have enough food or water or provisions to do that. So what do? They go to the store to try to gather the things they need in order to stay at home and do what the governor asked them to do. And so yesterday and today, you're going to see a lot of people at the store. I suspect as the days wear on, you're probably going to see fewer and fewer of them. And that's okay. But people are going to go shopping because they need food, or they're going to go shopping because they need things, or they're going to go, as I'm going today, to go get a prescription. Those are critical things that the governor expressed we should be doing. He said, if you have to go shopping, or if you have to go get take care of an elderly person that needs care. He also listed if you need to walk your dog and go for a walk with your dog, or you're going to go outside to get some exercise. Those are all fine things to do. He just said if you do those things, make sure you're practicing social distancing and staying at least 6 feet apart from other people, which is what we're doing. I got some emails like this and some comments saying the only reason why you're not worried about this is because you're rich. Okay, well, I'm not rich. My wife and I own a small mom and pop business where my wife, myself, my son, and one other guy who is part-time are the only employees. And Nick doesn't really work for the company very much. He actually has a full-time job, but he is a member of the board. That's it. It's a small company. We do fairly well, honestly, but we're certainly not wealthy. We live in a normal blue-collar neighborhood. I'm a normal blue-collar guy, and that is essentially how we live. So I'm driving a truck, which is 18 or 19 years old. My wife is driving a 17-year-old car. We live in a house that was built in the 50s that is only about 1,500 square feet. And so, no, we're not rich. I'm not worried about a lot of this because I'm a Christian, first of all. I just don't worry about this kind of stuff. This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. But at the same time, we're prepared for this. We've been prepared for this for years. We prepare all the time. We have extra food and extra water and generator and like that. And yeah, somebody said something about my generator and must be nice to have a generator. Must be nice to have a generator and have a transfer box in the house. It's not that we're uber rich. It's that we've been working on this for a very long time, knowing that eventually we're going to have a big earthquake. Eventually we're going to have a huge fire. We have them every year. And I live in earthquake country. Or eventually there's going to be a pandemic. So that's why we're not freaked out about it, because we're prepared. Now, if you're upset with me because we're prepared and you're not, that's on you. That's got nothing to do with me. The information has been out there for anybody to find and anybody to act upon. And if you didn't, that's entirely your responsibility. You are responsible for you. All right, now, having cleared the air on all of that stuff, I'm going to turn the camera around and let you see the parking lot at Albertsons, if I can figure out how to do it. Okay, so as you can see, the parking lot at Albertsons, this Albertsons I'm at, is actually pretty full. I'm still sitting in my truck, obviously. School bus yellow pickup. Yeah, I know, get over it. But you can see that the parking lot is fairly full. There are people out here. You can see there's some guys down there. They're not wearing masks. I did see a guy a little while ago who was wearing a mask, but it's not, you know, real common. Some people do, some people don't. I get it. I don't blame them. I'm not going to wear a mask. But I do want you to know that life goes on in California. This is just the Albertsons. You can see these folks getting out of their truck to walk in. You'll notice neither one of them has a mask on. They're just going into the Albertsons to do their shopping like they normally would. So this is day 2 of the lockdown, if you want to call it that, in the state of California, at least where San Diego County is concerned. Now, if I have another reason to go out or something, I'll drive out to the beach maybe tomorrow or Monday or something if I have a reason to do it, and I'll show you that. But I'll probably stay in the vehicle and film from the vehicle because we are trying to follow the governor's orders. All right, now that I've shown you this, I'm going to take you back home real quick, just magically, and talk to you a little bit about what we did yesterday at home. When you something to do when you're staying at home, and we'll talk about what we're going to do today. So sit tight. I mentioned earlier that we had done some stuff yesterday, so this is just kind of cool. I've been forgive the mess because we were playing with this thing yesterday and having a great time. This is the rocket stove that we just built, and loved it. So I had gone out and gotten the bricks and everything the other day. So this was before the government issued an order, and the governor said don't go out. I went out and bought these bricks. So that's 26 bricks and the pavers. And my kids and I put this together yesterday. We had a great time. And just so you know, no, I did not do this because I'm worried about the grid going down or whatever. Although, if you have that worry, I got to tell you, these things are awesome. We boiled water on it yesterday. We had a lot of fun with it yesterday, and I ordered a grate to go right on the top there. So I just got on Amazon and I ordered a regular stove grate for like $12 or whatever. And it's coming in a couple days, and we're going to use that. Then I'm going to buy 2 more bricks. I got the bricks at Home Depot. I think they were 35 cents a piece, and then the pavers were like $1.50 or something. So all told, the whole thing cost under $13, which was amazing. Your wood goes in here, so you can see. Let's take the stick. Your wood feeds in here, and then there's a place over here which is lower, and that's where there's air that gets drawn in there that helps feed the fire. And then I just put these bricks up here to give us something to actually set a pan on until the little thing comes. But we have the avocado trees and fruit trees and like that, and that's they always have twigs and stuff underneath them. And generally, what I'm doing with those is just throwing them away, or throwing them in the the recycle bin, or taking care of it when I'm trimming trees or whatever. So from now on, I'm going to keep that, and we're going to use the rocket stove once in a while for fun. I think I'm going to move it, put it over by the grill. By the way, people have asked me about the chicken. Yes, we used to have a lot of chickens. Whoops. And that's the only chicken we have left. Her name is Tiny, and she's become more of a pet than she is anything else. She's a great chicken, and so you'll see her in videos periodically because she's just kicking the pants. And yes, we do get some great avocados. Oh, there's one more thing I'm going to mention to you before I go, and I'll mention it again tomorrow because this is the end of this, and sometimes people don't watch all the way through. There's been a lot of people talking about the governor getting the National Guard ready, and they're going, well, it's going to be martial law, and they're going to go door to door and take guns and like that. Okay, so that you know, the governor cannot legally do that. Neither can the federal government legally do that, because since Hurricane Katrina, when that happened, the National Rifle Association and the Second Amendment Foundation sued, and then along with GOA and other organizations, they pressured Congress to pass a law, which was the Vitter Amendment when it first started, and then eventually, I forgot the name of it now, but I'll put a link to it in the description so you can look it up. But it was signed into law by President George W. Bush in 2000. I think it's the law is the Protection Act or whatever it is of 2006. And basically what it says is that a federal agency, federal law enforcement agency cannot, or any federal agency cannot confiscate lawfully owned firearms during a state of emergency or during a disaster. Now, the federal government, unable to regulate the state government and local governments exactly that way, instead used the power of the purse and said that that also applied to any agency, any government agency that accepted and received federal money. Well, that's every local police department gets grants from the federal government. Every state agency gets grants from the federal government, and that includes the National Guard. So under federal law, the governor does not have the power to confiscate lawfully owned firearms during a stated emergency or declared emergency or during a disaster. So, and of course, National Guard units know this, and so they're not going to be knocking door to door unless they want to be in violation of federal law. As long as we have a functional federal government and a functional state government, you're pretty safe. The police aren't going to come by, and the National Guard are not going to come by and knock on your door and start taking your guns because, again, of NRA and SAF suing, and then NRA, SAF, and other organizations, and I believe GOA was very involved in this as well, getting that law passed in 2006 and signed into law by then President George W. Bush. So I'll put a link to the law in the description so you can look it up. Maybe you'll feel a little safer that way, and you won't feel like the National Guard's going to come bang on your door and take your guns, because under federal law, they can't. So there you go. Thank you again for watching. Stay safe.